nice to meet you. My name is Ariana, and I'm here to teach you guys how to make gumbo today. So basically, if y'all got them stamps and it ain't the first of the month, Smitty, show them the dough. So right now, what you want to start with is turning on your fire. Turn on your fire, get everything hot. I've already started boiling chicken. I didn't feel like I needed to go over boiling chicken because y'all should already know how to boil chicken. And if you can't boil chicken, then you're not going to be able to make gumbo. So, next step. When you get your chicken boiled, I usually suggest people to add in chicken flavoring. So it helps with the chicken instead of it being a little bit under-seasoned or under-flavored, actually. So you add a little bit of that. It'll change the color, that's fine. And you add a little bit of garlic powder. And I don't care how you guys feel about me adding it out of bags and all that good stuff. We'll get to where I'm like Cooking Network with in little glass containers and all that good stuff. But in the meantime, this is where we at. This is where we at. All right. Got that out the way. Cool. So you have your garlic powder, your onion powder, your chicken flavor, or your chicken bouillon, and you boil your chicken down. You boil your chicken as long as you feel you need to, as long as you want it to get as soft as possible, but not too much because you're going to be doing the second boiling part in this pan. This is the pan that the magic is going to be made in because this is your big pot. Now, when you make gumbo, you can make a big pot, you can make a little pot, you can make whatever. I suggest a big pot because you don't want to be doing this over again, and you want to at least have a week's worth. I know my face ain't all on the camera, but at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about this gumbo. I've gone on YouTube trying to find gumbo recipes on video that go from beginning to end so people get an idea of what is going on. And I have not seen a decent one. It's like they want to show you how to make it, but like not show you how to make it. I don't get it. So you want to add your oil in. Let's go ahead and zoom this in real quick. Right there. All right. So you want to add your oil in. If you're asking me how much, it depends on what size pot you're working with. So I can't really tell you the exact amount, but I will tell you this. Whatever pot you're using, you want the oil to coat the complete bottom. As you can see, there's enough oil in here that's kind of floating around. So you are going to need a lot of oil low-key. I'm not even going to lie. It's a comfort food, so it's not a food that's designed for people to be weight conscious and you're eating gumbo. Okay? So you want to get your oil in and get your oil going. The second thing we're going over are products. Louisiana, let's see if it's right here, yep. Louisiana brand hot links is definitely what you want to use when you're using for your sausages for your gumbo. In my opinion, it's the best sausages. Some people like to use those kind of, like, in my opinion, smoked sausages, but they're usually, in my opinion, breakfast sausage. But this is the best sausage that you can use for a gumbo. I hate it when people do these videos and they don't even show you what they're using. So this is what you use. See if I can get it up here closer for you guys to see. Of course not. Let's see. What? There we go. All right, so this is what you guys are going to need. There we go. It's backwards, low-key. But it's called Louisiana brand hot link smoked sausage made in California. But the ones that I use is extra hot because it's going to be in such a big pan. Most of the flavoring and spices in this, you do not have to add extra spice after the fact because of these. So that's why I'm making this as easy as possible. You do not, once again, you do not have to add in any extra heat once you have these. All right. The second thing that we're going on, the subject of product, is a product called crab boil. Crab boil is good for people who, this is what we're doing, crab boil. Crab boil is good for people who, let me just pick one. There's multiple crab boils when you Google it. Go ahead and Google it on your camera, laptop, whatever you need to do, and you'll see different crab boil products. What this is good for is if you don't like crabs and you don't like seafood, but you don't mind the flavor, but you just don't like the texture. So this is basically condensed, boiled down crab juices or crab whatever, crawfish, so that you have the ability to have the same gumbo taste without the actual crab. Meaning there are gumbos called sausage and chicken gumbos, and then you can use the crab boil, which helps you have the taste of crab without actually having to get it. So this is one of the products that it looks like. This is it. There we go. So it's crab boil. I'm not using that because I have crabs, and I actually like the texture of crabs. So these are the different products that you can have. They all say crab boil. Some are by Zatarain's and other companies, but these are what you use. Once again, if you do not like the texture of seafood, but you want a gumbo that people find respectable. Okay. The next thing you want to get, the next thing you want to have is my favorite part, crabs. That's the best part so far. So here it is. I got 3 giant bags. I got 3 big bags of crab. You do not have to do that. I just toasted. Oh, snap. Oh, well. You don't have to do that. You just can get crabs that's like this. And I'll open them up so you can see what they look like. You also have options with this. I chose to get Jonah Crab because it's a meatier crab in one spot instead of having to break down all this different crab. So here it is. In a bag like this. And I'll take one out for you guys to see. Okay. This is a Jonah Crab. Yeah, okay, there we go. This is a Jonah Crab. And it's a meatier crab, and it's mainly just the claws. It's not like the snow crab or the king crab where the legs is the part that's the big deal. But in my opinion, the meat is in the claw. The biggest part of the meat is in the claw, and once you crack it, you're done. You don't have to worry about having to break down all 6 different parts of a leg to get one piece of crab. That's ridiculous. So I chose to use, once again, the Jonah Crab claws to add in after the fact. Okay, so now we are back at the roux. Okay, so now we're back at the roux. This is the most important part of making a gumbo. This determines if you're even going to have a gumbo, basically. So you want to get your oil real hot. So I got mine on about a 7. You can turn yours on whatever hot heat that you think, but just don't go too hot because you don't want your oil to turn black. I mean, you don't want your roux to turn black. So the chicken is done boiling. I put that off to the side. It's over here. It's done. As you can see, it has a yellow coloring in it. That's a good thing. Oh well, that's a good thing. So that means that's the color. That's the color that you want when you add the chicken flavoring or the chicken bouillon in. Okay. So how you know your oil is hot? And I know that people know, but there are people who don't know that are watching this. You'll hear the pan popping everywhere. And then you'll hear these individual noises, and that's because the pot is trying to temperature-rise and level out. When the noise stops and it's complete silence, that means your oil is hot enough. Do not add the flour in if the oil is not quiet. So basically, that's what we're waiting for right now. And you want to check on your chicken, make sure your chicken is nice and soft. It doesn't have to be mushy or too soft because, like I said, you're going to be adding it again into your gumbo. Okay. Other things you're going to need in the meantime while we're waiting for this. is the Holy Trinity. This is the Holy Trinity. If you do not have bell peppers, onions, and celery to make gumbo, you're not going to have a gumbo. You have to have these things to bless your food. So if you don't have the Holy Trinity, you ain't going to heaven. Your belly is not going to heaven if you don't have this. Okay, so you're not going to have that in yet anyway. But I'm just showing you what you need to have. You are going to need sugar. Obviously, I went and bought all this stuff, so everything is still in bags, but I don't care. I'm showing you guys how to make gumbo. I'm the only video here. All right. So, as you can hear, the sounds have stopped. See, it was all loud at first. Now it's quiet. So let's get this zoomed in so you guys can see how it's supposed to respond. Okay. So, when you get your pot, you want your pot to be just like this. Nice and quiet. No sound. But this is how it was hot. That's how you know your oil is ready. So, if you have a sifter, this is better, but you can go ahead and do this instead. And what this allows you to do is to start your roux. You have to constantly keep it moving, and you don't want your oil too high. So maybe between a 5 and a 7. The trick of making a roux is you have to keep it going. Don't stop. You have to keep turning and keep turning and keep turning. Just like this. So as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit darker. You sprinkle in more. It'll start to foam up. That's good. You keep stirring it again. As you can see, you start to get little brown floaty things. That's good. What I've learned with gumbo is it is technique. Instead of going around in a circle where you never end up concentrating, you're never going to mix in the middle, go up and down like this, like you're more on a line. Up and down, up and down. That way you don't miss a spot and you keep getting what you need to get done. There you go. Just like that. Just like that. So it's getting darker and darker. Add some more. Basically, you're going to keep adding this until the oil goes away and you have more of a dark brown, what looks like a gravy. And that's how you know that you're getting a good consistency. It'll look like a gravy. Just like that. That's the color you want. Right now it's peanut butter. That's the color of peanut butter. That's not dark enough. Keep adding more. Each time you add the flour in, don't be alarmed. It's going to make your roux lighter, which is okay. You just cook it longer and let it darken up. But you don't add in more flour until you get the peanut butter color again. So right now, you can see the white there. You can see a lot of white. So this is what tells you, so you guys know when to add in your flour. You see I'm going up and down, like I'm on a line, up and down. So you don't want to see no more white. There you go. Basically, when you're cooking this, you do not want to see any white. So it better be the Black Panther Party movement in your gumbo when you're cooking it. You don't want to see no white. It ain't welcome here. You don't belong in these parts. So that, once again, you know to add the flour because the roux got darker. So that means it's safe to add more. Do not take it amongst yourself to add in more because you think it needs more. Only add in more when the color turns dark so you know to add it in. Otherwise, you'll end up having a thick, goopy mess of brown dough. You see how it's buttery and moving like this? This is what you need. It needs to have a soup-like texture. This right now is just oil and flour. I hope this sound isn't killing you guys' ears. If it is, you're just going to have to turn down the volume. And I'll correct it in the next video. In the meantime, here we are. Back at mixing it again. And I know you're thinking like, dang, this is taking forever. But this is the longest part. Everything else is smooth sailing. You just got to get past this part. And this is the hardest part. After this, no worries. So once again, as you can see, It's getting dark. So what does that mean? When you see this color, it means add more now. It's safe to add more flour now. You'll see it turn white again. The color will change. If it gets light again, that's okay. You keep adding it in when it gets darker again. Now I know you asked me, well, when do I stop? When do I add in? When do I add in anything else? When it's not as soupy and it has a thicker consistency, that's when you stop. Which means when you're moving it, it has less movement and it's more resistant. That's when you know you're done. But right now, this still has a lot of oil in it. More flour. No problem. Right now, you're not seasoning anything. You're not worrying about anything else. This is your main priority. Nothing else matters. And this is it. Michael Jackson. This is it. Now at this point, there's less oil in it, so it'll start to cook faster. At this point, since I'm used to doing this, you can work faster, or you can turn your fire down. So this is another way you know you're almost done. Because the pot will start cooking the flour harder, and you'll start to have to move faster. As you can see, I have to move faster, and the gumbo is getting darker. Check it out. It's getting darker, faster. As you can see, check it out, darker, faster. So what that means is we're almost done with the flour portion of the gumbo. Darker, faster. So once you start having to pick up your speed, you know you're almost done. And like I said from the beginning of the video with the oil, you use as much oil to coat the bottom of your pan. So you want it to be like 1/4 of an inch thick or an inch thick depending on how much you're making. You want to make sure you keep it nice and thin so it doesn't clump up. You don't want it to clump up. That's bad. So right now, it's getting a color that I like. You are going to need this color to be the color of chocolate. If it is not the color of chocolate, it'll be too light. Your roux will break later on. So when you put it in the refrigerator and you start trying to eat it later on throughout the day or later on throughout the week, it'll turn into a soup. So now, we're done adding the flour so far. But the most important part now is color. Our gumbo has to be melanated. It has to be melanated, meaning this gumbo has to be Black Panther dark. And I keep saying that because the movie just came out and I haven't seen it yet. I know that's ridiculous, but it is what it is. So see how I stopped moving it just for a second and it started trying to smoke up. Just for a second. So then you add your bell peppers, onions, and celery inside. Of course your house is going to start smelling like heaven right away. Instant heaven. So now you're going to be frying your onions, your bell pepper, and your celery inside the dark roux that you're making. So your roux has to be dark brown. Shut up, I ain't burning nothing. There we go. Alright, so your roux should be this color right here. See how dark it is? It's a chocolate color or a mole color. In case we got some Latinas or Latinos following me or want to know how to make some gumbo, you basically want it to be the equivalent of a mole. Had to open the door. Alright. So now you're still moving things around. You don't add nothing else in yet because you have to cook your bell peppers and your onions.